welcome back. Today we're talking about boobs. Oh yeah. So let's hop straight into it. I'm going to tell you guys all about the breastfeeding tips that I know and love and that I wish I'd known before I began breastfeeding Kalia. Look at that for timing. We have a crying baby. Are you hungry? Is she hungry? Come on then. So, as I was saying, Kalia is 4 months old. She is currently exclusively breastfed. We've kind of like gone through phases of exclusively breastfeeding, and then pumping as well as breastfeeding, and then now we've hopped straight back into exclusively breastfeeding. So we have kind of had a bit of a rough little ride in the beginning, and that's what's caused us to have those little jumps and stuff. But we just kind of do whatever makes her happy and whatever's easiest. So yeah. So I think when I was pregnant, I had this super naive attitude that breastfeeding would be really, really easy. Well, it's not. It takes perseverance and practice. For some people, breastfeeding just is an option. And at the end of the day, as long as your baby's fed, it really doesn't matter where it comes from. Anyways, a quick disclaimer before we get into the good stuff. I am not a breastfeeding consultant, a lactation consultant, or a doctor. Everything I'm going to share with you guys is purely my own thoughts and feelings on the breastfeeding topic. And like I said, fed is best at the end of the day. So I'm not going to go into all the benefits and stuff that breastfeeding has. This is just my experience and what I've learned along the way. But we're going to talk about the products that I use and love for breastfeeding and pumping. We're going to talk about why I chose to breastfeed, my journey through breastfeeding, me losing my supply and then regaining it, and the things that I wish I knew. Now let's just say feeding a 4-month-old and feeding a newborn are slightly different tasks. And as a newborn, obviously, they're immobile completely. Hello. They can't move at all. Well, now she wriggles, it's horrible to say, but she latches on and then she gets caught a sight of something over there and she's still got hold of my nip and she just yanks it out of her mouth. Anyway, all the joys, and I'm here to tell you all about it and why I love it. So, first things first, the why. Why did I choose to breastfeed? And in all honesty, oh, do you get a milk choked there? And the simple answer is, it doesn't cost anything, and I thought it would be super easy. It seemed convenient, it seemed less expensive, and they were actually my main reasons why over everything else. And whilst yes, that has been true in some ways, in others it really hasn't. If you're gonna go just straight on the nip and straight for it, then yeah, I guess that is convenient. But if you're gonna breastfeed and pump, it's not so convenient. And yeah, if you're planning on exclusively breastfeeding, fantastic, it probably is going to work out more convenient, less expensive. However, if you plan to pump and breastfeed, it's definitely less convenient and probably more expensive. So let's just recap my journey a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll pretty much know my highs and lows because I do talk about it a little bit over there. But for you guys on YouTube, let's just have a quick little chat. I went into breastfeeding knowing nothing. I was so sure that I was just going to be like, yep, I'm going to breastfeed, on she goes, boom, let's walk out the door. No. So when it actually came to latch, we couldn't. She couldn't, I couldn't, we had big troubles. We had multiple nurses come out, midwives, lactation consultants, just nothing was working. We tried so many different holds and yeah, it just, whatever we tried just didn't work. At this point, I think it's like 3 or 4 days after birth, she hadn't had a proper feed yet. It had just been like little bits here and there from a bottle or a teaspoon. And I just remember crying and getting so angry at myself because I couldn't do it. Like I wasn't giving her the one thing that I needed to give her. And my tits, let me tell you, were like rocks. So then we had the best midwife come over. Like she was amazing. And she brings nipple shields. Now these are literally a game changer. Pop the shield on, put Kalia there, and she latched immediately. So I nursed for a few months. I think we got to like just before Christmas and I got mastitis, which isn't great. So because of that, I started to pump a lot more. I got the LV hands-free pumps. Oh my God, absolutely lifesaver, godsend. If you can get them, get them. And I ended up probably pumping all day, every day. And then I would just feed her like in the evenings, just before bed. Just because it was easier than having to mess around with my nipple shield when she was moving and really going around. And it was just so much more convenient for me, like when I was going out and stuff to the farm, to just be able to take a bottle. Well, let me tell you, fast forward to last week, we were still on the pumping train all the time, filling up the freezer as we were going. Well, I didn't have any bottles made, I didn't really want to frost anything, and I thought I'll go and grab my nipple shield and we'll just use that. So I got the nipple shield, it was dirty because I hadn't used it in a while, so I was just cleaning it off with the baby wipe. Meanwhile, I already had my boob out and she's like led in prime position, ready to go, just for me to put the nipple shield on. Out of nowhere, she latches. And there we go. Like, there's moving forward, that's what we do now. We feed from the boob all the time, don't we? Yeah, because she's so clever. She's so clever. So it is definitely so much easier now, obviously not having to think about having to pump, not trying to find a small invisible nipple shield in a bag full of things, and it's bringing us closer together. It is nice, it's like a nice little bonding time, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so things I wish I knew. Okay, so number one, there is a thing called the 3-month milk supply change. And I don't know why people don't talk about it and they don't tell you this at the beginning, because honestly, I lost my shit. Yes, I did. So at 3 months, you are gonna freak out because you're gonna think that your supply is dropping and it's just going and that's it, you're drying up. You're gonna be like, what have I done wrong? Absolutely nothing, your body is just changing the way it produces milk. So prior to this point, your body is making milk and storing it, and then baby comes along, there's milk already in your boob for them to drink, and then once they've gone, they've had their milk, it then starts to make the milk again, and so you've always got a constant supply ready in your boobs. From 3 months, however, your milk begins to change the way it's produced, and basically it's more of like an on-demand thing. So your baby actually has to latch and suck a bit for her to, or him, to activate your milk supply and your milk letdown. It's also around this time that babies start to notice the world around them a bit more and they get very easily distracted. Yes, and they do put your nipple in their mouth and they're like, oh, what's that? Was it still in your mouth? Yes. You're very distracting in this video. Yes. But nap times just have not worked out today. No. So number 2, you need to make sure you look after yourself. Breastfeeding is not an easy thing and you kind of forget to look after your own self when you're doing it. So life with a newborn is hectic and you know, you're constantly doing stuff like you're feeding them, you're changing them, you're playing with them and doing all this stuff, and when they nap you think, right, now I need to clean, I need to cook, I need to blah blah blah. No, hold the phone. What you actually need to do is be making sure that you're drinking so much water and just like constantly keeping the fluids up in your body, because obviously you're producing milk for a small human and that milk's got to come from somewhere. And if you don't think about yourself and you don't think about these things and you're not keeping track of what's going on in your body, then stuff goes wrong. Like mastitis. It's great having you here. You're very, very distracting. And she's dribbled everywhere. She says hi. So let's talk supply loss and gain. So my supply dropped and I could tell because not only was I breastfeeding, but I was also pumping, and I would usually pump 7 to 8 ounces in like a 10-15 minute session. But my supply did drop and I got to the point where I was probably pumping like 2 to 3 ounces from both boobs, and it was taking like 20-25 minutes, which was not ideal when you have a very greedy little human. So pumping isn't really always the best reflection of your actual supply, because obviously when baby is latched, they're able to stimulate your milk and your letdown, and so you probably are producing a bit more than what you're pumping, but you know. So I know that my supply had dropped because Kalia was getting aggy during feed times. She'd be latched, and then halfway through her feed, she'd get really aggy. She wouldn't want to latch anymore. And then I would go and defrost some milk and give her a bottle, and she'd drink like a good 3 or 4 ounces after a feed. So the first thing I did to up my supply was to offer a feed more often. I usually go like 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I kind of do it on her schedule when she wants it. However, at this point, I obviously needed to up my supply for her, and so I would offer a feed every 2.5 to 3 hours. I then pumped straight after a feed for like 10 to 15 minutes. I really wouldn't get a lot, but it was more to encourage production and be like, hey boobs, we need some more down here. For diet, I started eating oatmeal porridge in the mornings. I love it with like a little bit of jam, a little bit of sugar. They say that oatmeal is meant to be really good for milk production. Also supplements and stuff that you can get. I didn't actually go down the route of that because I'm really bad at remembering to take things in the morning. But there are supplements you can get. But alongside that, I also drank a shit ton of water. So my fave products, which I've talked about loads and loads and loads before in previous videos and over on Instagram, so I'll just quickly go through them real quick just to let you know. So first one is the Hacker. Haven't been able to live without it, absolutely love it. I will link it down below. It's like a suction cup, suctions onto the boob where you're not feeding or pumping from, and it just like encourages a little natural letdown. So on a good day, when my supply hadn't dropped, I would catch like 2 or 3 ounces from that boob whilst feeding off the other. Perfect. Second has to be my LV hands-free pump. I absolutely couldn't live without this. I went through a stage with having mastitis and I was having to literally clear myself out after every feed time. Being attached to a wall for hours of a day just was a no-no. Like, I had stuff that I had to get done. So the LV pumps have been a lifesaver. I can literally do anything. Muck out, drive my car, clean. They're great. Nursing bras are a must, absolutely love them, and nursing clothes actually in general. Now I live on the Isle of Wight. There are no shops here that sell maternity or nursing clothes. Really. So I delved into the online world of Pat and Shein, and they by far have been the best nursing bras and nursing clothing that I have found. I would size up potentially because some of the sizing, although most of it is pretty good, the stuff that I have found has been smaller rather than larger. So if you're worried, then I would size up, but definitely the quality's actually been really great. They've lasted really well. I've been wearing my nursing bras now since, I want to say I was like 4 months pregnant, because they're just comfy, and they're still going strong. So yeah, Pat, Shein, 100%. I will link some bits down below for you guys. Pads, I never went with a normal breast pad. I've used either my LV catches, which literally just sit in your bra, catch you, you know, just catch your natural milk that's just gonna fall out during the day. And if I'm not using them, then I do actually just use a sanitary towel cut in half because, well, mama's got milk. And my last go-to must-have favourite product is my nipple shield, because without that I literally wouldn't be able to feed. I use the Medela large ones. Medela also do, I think they do a medium and a small size, but there are hundreds, guys, of different ones of these on the internet. Do just like have a quick little scroll through, go to like your local pharmacy or Boots or something, and they usually have some in there. It's just going to be like personal preference on what you like, what baby likes, what fits you best. So yeah, go and take a look over at those. And just to finish, let's just say the journey is however you make it. Gonna be hard, you're gonna get sore, and it's gonna be different with each person. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, then please do ask me either down below or find me over on Instagram at Diary Overdone and pop me a message over there. And if you're not subscribed, then do click the subscribe button. join this crazy family and watch us grow and learn with us. And we are going to see you guys really, really soon. All right.